Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. Apologies for the 10-minute delay. Just having a little had to sort out a couple of things backstage. I hope everyone is happy and healthy, doing the things they love with the people that they love doing them with. We haven't done one of these devil's advocates for a couple of weeks, a few weeks. Things get in the way, but we are back with the wonderful Johnny. Dave is backstage. He's just dealing with something. He'll be on in a second. Johnny, how you doing, mate? How are you?
I'm all right. I think I've caught the curse. I got injured putting the toast in the toaster. I could be out for a couple of months. I only can use this hand now, unfortunately. I'm scared to use this hand in case this one gets injured. But
you only need the right hand, mate. For most things in life, you only need the strong hand. That's all you need.
As long as its right hand keeps going, I'm all right. Okay.
Yeah.
But
listen,
I'm all right. I'm all right. If you wiped out football out the equation, yeah, I'm there.
Well, look, I mean, there's only really one place to start. Obviously, the injury pile-up continues. Before we get into it, let me just say hello to a few people and ask a few favours. Jews Nuts, what's happening, Jews Nuts? Hope you're okay. He says, yes, we are cursed. We need Levy to hire a voodoo doctor, shaman, priest, etc. Maybe all three to cleanse the aura at White Hart Lane and Stockley Park. Unbelievable, isn't it, what's going on at the moment? Future Music says, hey, lads, I understand that we rushed him back into action. We love the guy and we know he is brilliant, but is he just too flaky? I'm going to star that one because we'll come back to that during the show. It's an interesting question. D Boss is saying the curse started when Dave was screaming, we are in a title race after 5 games. Let the man dream. He still thinks we're in a title. He still thinks we could be in a title race. That's what we spoke about on Sunday night. Listen, who else? We've got William Ellison's in the house. Good to see you, mate. Scripting Wands. D-Boss 140, some interesting names today. We got Nick Collison, what's happening, Bazza? Smash the like button. Glad I can pop in and say hi. That is the most important thing you can do for us, guys, is hit the like button. You know how much it really helps push the algorithm out to other people that might be interested in the content. But also, I always ask this now, I have to ask every day because so many of you keep telling me in the comment section underneath my dog walks, can you check that you're subscribed, even if you think you're subscribed, or even if you've checked and you were unsubscribed and then you've resubscribed? Can you check again? Because YouTube keep unsubscribing people from the channel.
Yeah, it's all happening in all the channels. I heard, Sean. It's a lot
something weird's going on with YouTube, messing around everyone. The views are all a bit skewed, and the subscriber thing is getting a bit odd as well. So just double check you are. Really appreciate it. And make sure you also get over to Johnny H3232 on Twitter. Link is in the description. And Tottenham on tour, where he does his shows after the game on anger management. And also get over to the Irish Hotspur. He'll be on in a second as well. Drew Zilla's in the house. Big up everyone. Looking forward to this one. Remember to smash those likes. Exactly, my man. Daryl Bradford's here. Mark Cousins is here. Taylor's here. Drew Zilla is in with a super chat. Really appreciate you, Drew. How you doing, my man? He says, big up everyone. Smash those likes. Appreciate you, Drew. It's very early for you, isn't it, mate? Over in, let me ask what you're in, is it Kansas? I used to think you were in Arizona, but I think you said you're in Kansas, somewhere in the west, somewhere near west, sort of central west of America. Thank you very much for super chat, mate. Taylor's here as well. Ian Clark's here. Steve D, George, Donna Cullen's in the house, as is Ian Clark. Beyond 72, Kenty's in the house, as is Chris Horry, and I think that's everybody. Dave, how you doing, mate? How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, my man. I'm good. Thanks very much for having me for these shows with yourself and Johnny. They're really good, so thanks for having me, lads.
No, I appreciate you, mate. Appreciate you. I know you've got some stuff going on in the back, mate, so if you need to jump off or anything, I'm completely understand. Let's start with the obvious starting point. Rodrigo Bentancur out injured for 2.5 months with ankle ligaments. I mean, devastating for the player, devastating for Tottenham, devastating for everybody. You know, maybe devastating for Matty Cash's PR team as well. Johnny, I'll start with you, mate. Like, I mean, how much of a blow is this to Tottenham's season?
Huge, absolutely huge. I remember going on, you know, when he first came here, everyone was going on about Kulu. And I was purring at Bentancur. I couldn't take my eyes off Bentancur. Everyone was going, Kulu. For me, it was Bentancur. He is just an absolute class act. Look, in my opinion, we have lots of pieces of jigsaws, right? Lots of pieces that go together. For me, he is the glue that binds all those individual pieces to make it work and make the picture perfect. And, you know, he when he went to the World Cup, I did a poll before he went to the World Cup this time last year. Who's the best player? I think Bentancur was something like 70%, ahead of Kane, ahead of everyone, right? As the best player at Tottenham. He went to the World Cup. He had the best stats at the World Cup of any midfielder in that group stage. He got injured. He came back, and I said, remember saying before the Leicester game, why are we risking him? We shouldn't be rushing him back. He's obviously just come back. We don't want to rush him back. We need him, but, you know, let's not rush him. And I nearly did, Mark, nearly did. We all know what happened in that Leicester game. Listen, I wanted him eased back into the fold. I was worried about him getting injured. You can't legislate for that shocking tackle that Cash.
Well, it's nothing to do with us rushing him back. You don't think any of that sort of stuff?
Can't,
no,
because he could have come on in the 70th minute and got that. I still wanted him to be nurtured back, but that challenge. But the one thing I must say, I think our medical team, there's something fundamentally wrong. Look, when we saw the Leicester game, I know for a fact that when he had that injury, Harry Kane told the medical team they heard something snap. Bang. They heard a bang. Or 2 or 3 of the players heard it. Yet they allowed him to get up. They allowed him to go on the pitch. He then had to walk off the pitch. And he probably would have exacerbated that injury. On Sunday, when he went down, I turned to the guy next to me and I said, he's done. He said, no. I said, he's banging that ground exactly as he was banging that ground in the Leicester game. He's finished. So the guy comes on, he has a look at his ankle, and he allows him to get back up and go. Now, if you're a medical expert, right, surely the swelling's already starting to happen, right? The swelling's already starting to happen, and the guy's in pain. He then plays on for a further 4 minutes, and then what happens?
Is this the Matt Doherty one? You're talking about Matt Doherty or Bentancur?
No, I'm talking about Bentancur. I'm talking
about Bentancur's first one. Sorry, yeah.
Bentancur's first one, and now I'm talking about Bentancur's second one on Sunday.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I'm with you.
Where he's allowed to carry on for 4 minutes. They look at the ankle. He carries on for 4 minutes. He then breaks down again, and I said, I wonder how much damage he's done now, right, in those 4 minutes of hobbling around. He then is walked off. We've only one guy. We got 3 medical guys on the bench. Only one guy could be asked to come and help him walk off. But what's he doing? The guy's still putting pressure on his bad leg. He should have had 2 guys helped him off. They make him walk all the way round and down the tunnel. Look, I'm just saying there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes. It's not just the medical team, but I do believe...
Well, there's an incredible amount of injuries and like an obscene amount of ACLs, ligament damages, torn this, torn that,
muscles,
not just at Tottenham, but like all across the Premier League, all across Europe. I think there's been that phrase, excess deaths. People were looking at like when there was COVID and it was like how many excess deaths there were. Like there's excess, obscenely nasty injuries this season. I don't know whether it's like the amount of games that they're being asked to play, whether it's the ground is different, whether it's the ball is different, the boots are different. Something is going on that there's so many long-term injuries being found, not just at Tottenham, but Tottenham specifically.
You can't say that, Sean. You can say that against Newcastle, who are playing a high-intensity, high-press game, and I think they've already played 6 games more than us, right? We're playing once a week. We're playing less games than any club in the top 6 divisions in the English League, all the way down below the National League. We have 1 game a week. We only have another 20-something games to go. I mean, I don't even think we have that, do we, Dave? I'm not sure. 20-something games to go, right?
25 games to go, yeah.
25 games to go, right? You cannot level that as the excuse. Where is the monitoring of the red zone? Is it the intensity? Is the intensity of our training? coupled with the intensity of
Well,
the
most
game.
of our injuries happened in training, right? Perisic happened in training. Solomon happened in training. Sessegnon's happened in training.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not sure, but fundamentally there's something wrong. We should be investing in, when you have a stable of thoroughbreds costing millions and millions of pounds, you should be investing in the top technology to monitor players. Look, Ange, I know you want to play him. He's in the red zone. If you're going to play him on a weekend, you're going to risk him getting injured and he could be out for weeks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right?
I hear you. Dave, let me ask you, right? So Johnny Rake makes a very valuable point about the medical team. I would go as far as to say, what he points out Bentancur's first injury when he was allowed to kind of hobble around and hobble off. The second one he was allowed to play on. Matt Doherty in the Aston Villa game sat down, got back up 3 different times, played on, and he'd ruptured his ligaments in his knee. I'm guessing there's a little bit of like, the players obviously don't want to come off. They want to play if they can. They've got adrenaline, so maybe they're not feeling the injury at its worst until they get off and they calm down and the pressure, like the kind of the whole their energy or ecosystem is relaxed a little bit. But is there also a little bit of the kind of the tail wagging the dog when it comes to medical team, and the medical department are allowing the players to determine whether they're right to carry on or not?
Look, I think the medical department has been a huge problem at Tottenham, right? You say, for instance, they come out and say, "Oh, player's out for 2 months." 4 months later, you're still looking at your watch going, okay, when's he due back? I think there's a degree, an element of the sports science, whatever way, whatever structure they have around it, or whoever's implementing it right. But for me, I actually think the biggest thing is I think managers are asking these guys to play through pain. You've heard it so many times. You heard it with Sonny playing through a lot of pain last season and stuff like that. And I actually put it down to squad depth. Managers don't trust, certain players outside of 15 or 16 players. So they're constantly asking these guys, get out there and do a job, because they do not trust, and they know, like we know, that the drop-off is massive. So these guys are going out there and they're playing games, even though they're injured. Look at Maddison playing with an injury this season. Now he's out to January because of his ankle injury. I think that's a massive factor towards it, that a lot of these guys are being overused and overplayed. You go look at a lot of that squad. If you look at the first half, what we consider the good half and the bad half, it's night and day compared to the amount of games they're playing. And I think that's your biggest problem, is because if managers had if they had players they trust, they'd say, "Look, come off, I'd put this guy on." But that doesn't happen because they don't trust it.
Even though we've only played 13 games this season.
Yeah, we've always got an injury per game. I mean, what I was going to say, what Dave said was absolutely right. What Dave was saying,
that is true.
Yeah, Dave was saying was absolutely right. Why was Maddison coming off after 70 minutes? Why was Son coming off? Because he wasn't fit. He wasn't fit. He was carrying. He wasn't right. Why are those players? You've got Lo Celso in the squad. You've got other players in the squad. I know we've just bought him, but what sense is it to play someone in the red zone knowing that one more challenge could put him out for months? And then that one game, or the game and a half that he could be out for, turns out to be 8 games or 9 games. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
You look at it last year, right? Same period in and around Antonio Conte when we fell off, right? Top of the league for a while, fell off in and around the same period. And the reason why is because you've got all the league games are coming quicker. You've got the Carabao Cup, you've got Europe, and you've got all these international breaks. So you've got a condensed period of a lot of football. And all these players are playing through injuries and stuff like that. And we don't have the squad depth to be able to navigate that. That's why we always see a drop-off in and around this point. And if I'm a manager and it's a results-based industry where, every result matters, if I know within a few weeks, I'm looking at the squad and I'm going, Dyer, Davies, I know I could be sacking in a couple of weeks here once I start using them. So they'll play the good guys we have until their leg falls off. It's a squad depth issue that's leading to this.
I think what the comment that was just made before, Sean, was a really interesting comment, and it's one that I've made before.
This one?
No, keep going back. About the boots.
The boots?
Yeah.
The boots.
Right. So I've made this comment before, right? when you play American football, they try to protect all the areas that could be of an issue, right? Why is it with footballers? Why is there not more protection to the ankle? It's all about style and design and what it looks like. Should there not be some sort of boot that offers? I mean, I look back on some of the old boots that they used to have back.
Well, I think it's a balance, isn't it? Right? If you have, like, the oldies used to have leather as thick as like a cow's backside, but also really high, right? Yeah, but it just doesn't allow you to move. The heavier the boot, the thicker the leather, the higher the ankle strap. It restricts your movement. And when everything's about pace and speed these days, they're trying to go almost so that the leather's almost a skin width.
No, I get
and that obviously again increases the likelihood when you've got studs that are made of super hard rubber or plastic that are coming through on people, and you got the shin pads. People like the shin pads are almost non-existent. It's like the size of a little remote control.
Listen, I mean, the thing is,
the remote control is bigger.
Yeah, remote. What I was going to say was, but should there not be a call now? I mean, they want to change all these things of football: VAR, sin bins, bin bins. Or everything they want to change.
Oh, we're going to talk about the sin bin in a minute. That's definitely on the agenda.
But why not? Why not look at why there's so many injuries? Why not look at the boot design? Because it's becoming a fashion statement more so than the task it's meant to do, which is I believe, to protect the foot. Yes, they want to be able to control the ball and what have you, but why can't they not have a flap or something? Look, we're living in the 21st century where we're designing. We can send men to Mars. We can send shit to Mars. We can land on an asteroid. We can do all these things. Surely we can come up with something which somehow protects that ankle, which there seems to be more and more injuries involving the ankle. I mean,
yeah. It's not just injuries to the ankle. I agree with you about the footwear. I definitely, ACLs are definitely obviously that stuff. There's a hell of a lot of ACLs, a hell of a lot of medial ligament stuff with the knees, and there's an absolutely disproportionate amount of hamstring injuries. The amount of players that Tottenham, obviously, like we as Tottenham fans, look mainly at what's going on at Tottenham, and we, depending on your interest in the Premier League, you'll have a deeper knowledge of them than you will of Europe and stuff. But I look at the amount of players that Tottenham have been linked to. I do videos on them every single day, and there's a list of about 4,000. And the amount of them that are going through their own injuries right now, that are recovering from injury, and the amount of hamstring injuries. And I'm not sure which one of you two it was that mentioned or that brought up the VAR delays as a possible cause of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's another element that, and on that basis, if everyone's got to go through this, if you have to, because VAR is not going anywhere, then I actually, let's go full circle on this. I actually 100% agree with you, Johnny, that Tottenham don't take the medical side, or at least don't appear to. You said backstage that, I don't know if we can say this about the cryo thing. Is that possible to talk about it? Or? Yeah. So you said that under Conte demanded that we put in a cryo chamber, and that Daniel Levy was very reluctant to because of the cost.
Well, it's a lot
and
of
that
money,
every other major football club's got them. Does every other major football club have a cryo chamber?
I don't know if they do or they don't, but is it really? Look, the thing is, football's all about bloody money, right? Look, the thing is, we should have had automatic offsides, automatic VAR, right? It was offered to the Premier League this season. It was turned down. Why was it turned down? Not for the benefit of the players, but because the FA had a contract, and coming out of a contract would have cost them money. They'll take it up next season, but next season's next season. We need it now. My first bet is still toe cap, yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah, when booting someone in the head was legal. Listen, look, the thing is, I think that there is a lot of contributory factors in this, VAR, had we had the automatic offside, we wouldn't be sitting around talking about these things. They would just be getting on and doing it. But I still think we'd have the injuries. I still think there's something going on. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
Let's before I do want to talk a little bit about the VAR, or sorry, this new idea of orange carding or whatever it is that's been touted around. But before we do, let's stick to the Tottenham specific stuff with regard, injuries. So at the moment, we've got Perisic who's out until April, but he might even be leaving anyway in January and going away. Manor Solomon's not due back until March. Van der Ven's not due back until probably February. Maddison's not due back until probably February when they're back on their feet and properly, going at it. Bentancur is probably out until March. Sessegnon's due back in January.
Who?
Richarlison's due back in February. I don't know if I'm missing anybody else. I think that's about it.
There's still Papa Sarr's out till Christmas.
Oh, Papa Sarr, we don't know how long he's out for, but that's a hamstring injury apparently, right? So that's going to be a few weeks as well. Is there? Look, I don't want to. Eric Dyer's fit. Well, look, actually, let's talk about that for a second. I've seen rumours that Tottenham are going to recall Japhet Tanganga in January because he hasn't played a single game for Augsburg. He himself has had a hamstring injury, funnily enough, and has been out for the majority of the season since he went to Germany. Didn't manage to get in the team. Germany were playing, the Augsburg were playing with a back three. They've now sacked their manager and gone to a back two, or back four. So he doesn't now fit in their plans at all. So he might be coming back. Let's just talk about the January window for a moment, because I do want to go to about Manchester City. How do we get through until January at least? What's the plan? Do we have enough in the midfield? Is there any chance of us getting anything out of the next however many games? But before we do, in January, do you see us having a mixture here of recalling some players from loan and buying players, or do you see Tottenham? And if so, is that going to be just another nightmare, or do you see us actually going and Daniel Levy having to put his hand in his pocket more than he otherwise would have because of the state of the situation we're in? Dave, I'll start with you on this one, mate.
Well, I just don't see the point of what's the point in calling back some of these players from loan. The majority of them are on loan because we can't sell them. They're no good for this squad, and if they were, they wouldn't be out on loan. Look, for me, the only answer is going into the January transfer market. We can't keep going through this cycle that when we get injuries and suspensions, which are a natural part of football, all of a sudden we keep relying on the same individuals to dig us out of a hole. It's the definition of insanity, right? You come to a crossroads, you're like, right, will I go down this road or will I go down the road that I've been down many times? And we keep picking the road that we've been down many times, expecting some of these players to bail us out. It's never going to happen. And the reality is, Postecoglou is now suffering the same as what Jose did, the same as what Conte did. Because the more we lose games, the more people are going to look at the guy in the dugout making the decisions. And in reality, we have to realize that some of these squad players are not good enough. And the transfer market is the only way of fixing it, especially with Postecoglou, the high intensity in the way he plays. He openly admits himself he needs substitutions to be able to maintain the high intensity and the way he plays. That's why he makes a lot of substitutions around 70 minutes and that. So, we hired him because of his formation, the style of play, the tactics, and everything else. So now it's up to us to provide him with the squad, because for the last few weeks, it's been like, is Postecoglou naive? Does Postecoglou need to change? No, the club needs to change. The club needs to give the manager a squad so that he can compete. So for me, go and do it. The areas are easy. He asked for 2 centre-backs in the summer. He got 1. So automatically you have to bring in another centre-back. And I don't want to keep harping on about, well, actually, I haven't harped on about it for ages. I'm going to bring it back up. We need a striker this January. If we had a striker against Aston Villa, we win that game. I've been on about it for quite some time, that not bringing in a forward to come back and haunt us. Many people wanted to make Harry Kane the problem last summer. Everyone bows down to him, this, that, and the other. It's a massive problem. Everyone's going to step up and put in 15 goals. Well, where is it? Reality is it ain't happening. Like I told you, it wasn't going to happen. So now we need to bring in a striker that's going to bag us goals, because right now, we're in a situation where we were last year, where we have to outscore teams, but yet we sold the best striker in the world that scored equalizers and winners. So now we're back there. Go out. We need a striker. It's that simple. We haven't been scoring goals all season. The biggest difference this season has been that back line. So that forward line needs to be sorted out as well.
Let me just quickly stick with you on this one, Dave, and then I'll come to get Johnny's opinion on the two. Just before I do, Spurs, you say many times you'd rather see attacking, entertaining football than practical football that wins games. Are you happy, true to your word? So what I said was I'd rather take entertaining football that may or may not win than pragmatic football that has a higher probability of winning but no guarantee of winning. And I am 100%. I love the Aston Villa game. I'm devastated with the outcome. I thought we were so unlucky to lose that game. Obviously, the Bentancur thing compounds on it. But I think the football that we saw in the first half against Villa was the best football I've seen at Tottenham in. I don't remember even including Pochettino stuff. I think you go back to Harry Redknapp days, but the last time I saw football that was quite as entertaining as that, and we could have been 4-0 up. I'm all on board it. Even if we go 7 defeats out of the next 7, or 8 defeats out of the next 7, 8 out of the next 8, whatever. Even if we absolutely collapse, I'm tolerant of the environment, tolerant of the circumstances, and this is this football exactly what I wanted. So yeah, I am absolutely true to my word. I'll also critique performances when I think they're bad. Like at the Wolves game, I thought we were terrible. So it doesn't mean I'm going to excuse bad performances, but I'm very tolerant of the process and the project. But I do want to get back to this thing that Dave was talking about, getting a striker in. 100%, Dave. But here's the question I have for you just as a follow-up. Because of the situation we find ourselves in now, there's an argument you could make that we need another midfielder. We need 2 centre-backs. We possibly need a new left-back. We definitely need a new forward and a new striker. You can't do all of that in January. There's no way that the club are going to just drop 200 million because we'll be broken by FFP. So you either go with whatever budget there is. It could be 70 million. It could be 50. It could be 100, whatever it is. But you either, now because of the circumstances we find ourselves in, you paper over cracks by spreading the budget across all of the positions that you need. And then you could easily find out that you then have subpar players signed to 4-year contracts, that you then have the next kicking of the can down the road. You have the next Eric Dyer, the next Sessegnon, the next whatever, players that you're not going to want for the process. Or you tolerate this season. It is what it is with the lack of fortune that we haven't had. But you still just go, well, if we've only got 70 million, then you need to get the right player. And if the right player costs you 50 and the right centre-back, you can squeeze 1 in for 20. Do you go 2 of the right players, or do you try and salvage this season by going 5 of or 4 not subpar, but 4, lesser quality, less desirable players in order to make something of this season? What's the strategy that you would rather see us do?
Well, that's what Steve Hitchen done, right? Make a budget spread and, look at the quality of players we brought in, and we're still suffering the consequences today. And I'd argue, if we don't start addressing the problems now, where's the money going to come from in the future? Because bar Harry Kane's player sale, look what we've recruited in player sales over the last few years. It ain't a lot, and we can't keep spending what we're spending and not recruiting any. So the longer it goes on, the less money we're going to actually have to fix the problems, or the less cash flow we're going to have to fix the problems. So for me, I think, look, you go with the 2 most important areas of our team. You go with striker and you go with centre-back. Both areas that sort of win or lose you games. Centre-back is a must. I remember I was going back to under Antonio Conte that January. We will get 2 centre-backs in the summer. We bring in 1. It's the constant just, pushing down the line. We already seen the benefits of going from the worst defence in Tottenham's history, which is statistically proven with the amount of goals we conceded last year, to one that was looking like it could end up being one of the best so far this season, barring injuries. Now it's decimated. So for me, we've already seen the benefits of having a strong back line. You don't concede goals. It keeps you in games and gives you a chance of winning the game. That's why when most teams come up, maybe not so much of late, but they play a pragmatic way because it keeps them in the game and they look to play on the counter. And then the other one, we made this problem ourselves in the summer with the striker. They knew once they were letting Harry Kane go, they'd have to buy a striker. I keep telling people, the plan was not to have Son up front. That was not the plan. Postecoglou has adjusted, and don't get me wrong, I think Son's adapted, and I think he's done a very good job in that regard. However, there are some games this year where he's gone MIA, where he's gone missing, and whether he likes it or not, this is something that people accuse of Harry Kane. We always look for Harry Kane. We're a one-man team. But what are we now? We're even more of a one-man team than what we were before because everyone is solely reliant on Son. Whereas at least when we had Kane, we still had Son chipping in and scoring and assisting goals and stuff like that. So for me, it's a man-made problem that we knew would come back and cause us. Well, I knew it would come back and cause us problems. So for me, you got to go out and rectify it. You have to bring in a striker. Scoring goals is the hardest thing to do in the game. It's the hardest thing to do in football. And
so a good striker,
a good striker that's going to guarantee you 25 goals a season.
Listen,
okay, that's a £70 million investment at least, isn't it?
Look, I think we screwed up. We made sacrifices about money, not about the football club. Okay, I know people aren't going to be happy what I'm going to say now, but I said you don't sell Davinson Sanchez until you have a replacement. He's the only player in that squad that was left, if we get an injury, that can play a high line, right? Who's got the recovery pace. I also said you don't get rid of Reguilon because what happens? Sessegnon's injured. What happens if Destiny goes, oh, he's not good enough. No, he's not good enough. He's good enough. He's good enough to play for Real Madrid. He's good enough for Simeone, who's the #1 defender, to ask him to come to Atletico Madrid. But he got seriously ill, had a virus. He was in hospital for weeks. And good enough to go to Man United, but not good enough for us. I think we shot ourselves in the foot. It was about money. We knew that we needed cover in that centre-back position. We could get by with what's going on in the midfield, okay? But we needed a striker. We needed a striker. We needed a centre-back. It was all about money. And I've got to say, look, I've really been behind Ange. But in these last 2 games, I'm really, really conflicted. I think Wolves he picked. Yeah, I am. Because
let's go. Let's hear it.
The first game against Wolves, I think he picked the wrong team. Okay, he really did. He should have started with Gio. He didn't start with Gio. And then when he brought them on, when he finally brought those subs on, the subs turned the whole flow of the game, and it reversed what was meant to have happened. Right? We lost control of the ball, and they kept coming forward. Anyway, against Villa, I looked at that team selection and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. That is really, really brave, right? I wanted to see Kulu in the middle. There was lots to like. I thought it was so brave and great. But let me tell you, I thought the subs were an absolute joke, right? He made 3 subs. He should have brought on Donley. When you're taking off Gio and you're chasing a game and you're 2-1 down, why did he not bring Donley on? I don't care. He's only 18, right? We've seen Man United. We've seen
because I got that wrong. So I made a mistake in the analysis. I said the reason why he brought on Skip for Gio was because Gio was tired, but he wasn't. He brought on someone else. Skip came on.
Right, Veliz, right?
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I made a mistake in my analysis.
But the thing is, this isn't the point, right? Okay. There is no point bringing on Veliz when he's going to have no supply, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Donley was the one player that can break the lines. I'm sorry, all you Oliver Skip fans out there. Okay. I've got nothing against him. He's limited. Okay. Get him to go and chase like a dog. Go and chase the ball. Chase the ball. Chase the ball. That's Oliver Skip. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
If you're Norwich,
great.
If you're West Brom, he's not for us. I'm sorry. I've done nothing against the kid at all. I wish him a great career.
What was the score? What was the score when he brought on Skip? Was it 1-1 at the time? Or we were 2-1 down. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say here is that I didn't believe that we talk about we don't have the players, we don't have the depth, I can understand not risking an 18-year-old centre-back in a game like that. But why are we not giving a rest, giving a chance to someone like Donley to come on and play in those last few minutes? I wanted to see Johnson move. I wanted to see Veliz come up front, Johnson tuck in behind him, in through the middle. The two of them link up together.
Johnson was exhausted, mate. Something's going on with Brendan Johnson. I said it before. I'm massively speculating, and I'm going to get locked because this is obviously I've got no basis of this. Again. I think the guy vapes at home because there's no way a 22-year-old that has played as few minutes as he does, one game a week, should be absolutely shattered after. And in the first half, he touched the ball 9 times. He's not tasked with defensive responsibilities. He's told to stay up the pitch. So
you were
how are you so shattered? At Wolves, he was embarrassingly. He was like walking around with his hands on his hips when the ball was. It was terrible.
Well, you were at Wolves, right? He was down my side, right, at the Wolves game, and I was screaming like, "Get your ass forward! Take on the man!
Same.
What are you doing? Track back!" And the defenders were shouting at him. My point here is that we have got problem. We are short. But are you saying to me? Are you honestly, categorically turning around to me and saying Jamie Donley is not good enough with all these injuries and being on the bench to be given 8 minutes or 10 minutes in a game to try and unlock it, because we know he can unlock a pass. We saw that 17-year-old kid unlock the defence on the weekend, right? It's infuriating me, because what it's saying
Johnny,
is,
I wonder, does it come back to what Tim Sherwood said when he spoke about Harry Kane that time, wanted to play Harry Kane, and Levy asked him why he wouldn't play Soldado, this, that, and the other. I wonder, is it something to do with that? Because we're one of the only clubs in the Premier League who do not give any youngsters a chance whatsoever. You know, people come back and say, oh, we gave 2 youngsters at the end of last season. That was absolute nonsense. You know, why make such a huge effort to change the whole structure on how you pay these guys? Make a huge effort to get some of the guys to sign on a dotted line where they were looking at leaving elsewhere, and not give any of them a chance, even though we've got injuries. And this is my whole point, right? When I keep saying we come to a crossroads and we keep picking the same old direction we always go down, we keep doing it because we keep relying on some of the squad players. At some point, you've got to go, look, you're not good enough. We keep playing with you. You keep giving us the same crap. We're now going to go with our youngsters. What was the point of lowering the average age of the squad, you know, and stuff like that, and then still persist with old dons who haven't done that in here? Why aren't we giving these youngsters an opportunity? I agree with you. I think Donley should have came on ahead of Skip at the weekend. I mean,
the thing is, right? Veliz, I know Veliz came and he was told that by Ange that he wasn't much chance of him getting a game before Christmas, right? So he said, "Can I go on loan?" And he said, "No," right? Which is like, well, you know, what's the point of that? Now, what are you going to do? Not play him, and then January throw him in at the deep end with no experience. For me, the guy's strength is in the air. He's great in the air. He's great at holding the ball up, okay? Let's see something different. Let's see against Man City. Let's see Veliz play through the middle, press Sonny out wide, and press and put Johnson on one side and Son on the other, with Veliz through the middle. And Kulu, I
got to be honest, mate. I got to be entirely honest. People aren't going to like this. And I know a lot of people in the comments are saying, give Brendan Johnson time. Listen, I'm not in any way saying I've given up on him, or I'm just saying the guy's not fit. And I think he needs to be fitter.
There's something wrong, Brad.
We used to absolutely slate Ndombele when he couldn't finish 60 minutes. He'd run around, puff out of his cheeks. And I'm not defending Ndombele. I'm not using him as a rationale for why it's okay. I'm saying it's a rationale for why it's not okay. You shouldn't be. He's 22 years old. He's not exactly a big lump of a guy where running around, jogging around just exerts energy out of you. He should be able to do more than he does in the second half.
One game a week.
I'd say the same for most of the Tottenham team. Most of the Tottenham team playing this intensity of a football match, like they are struggling to get to the end. Decky's the only player for me.
Yeah.
And I think you can make an argument, Sonny, over the last couple of games, I still saw him sprinting around, trying to do his best up until the 90th minute. Decky's got an engine on him for days, and it's one of his best assets. He will run and run and run for 90 minutes. And maybe that's because he doesn't drop into that final gear as much because of his worries about his hamstring. But the argument that Brennan Johnson is like an explosive player, well, I didn't see it in the first half. He touched the ball 9 times. So I think that there is a fitness issue. And I think that when you're that young, you need to be, and I don't know if that's something that needs to be factored into his training or what's going on, but ultimately, if you're paying £55 million for a player, I think he just needs to work on his fitness. I don't think it's too much of a stretch.
It wasn't for me. Look, for me, I've got nothing against Brendan Johnson, and I hope he comes back and smashes it. But, for me, you buy an Elise, game changer. Right, there are other players for the same money or less that will change games. That for me, but my point I'm trying to make here is that why when you have a talent, look, I'm not saying bring all the talent through. There are only
sorry, Johnny. Before you come with your point, sorry, when I interrupted you before, I hate interrupting people, even though I do it all the time. I apologise. The reason I wanted to jump in on a minute ago wasn't to talk about Brennan Johnson. It was talking about Veliz. You said bring in Veliz. I've got to be honest, and he's another one I want to give time for. Of course, he's just come over here, a lot of adaptability, but I haven't seen him do a single thing in the minutes he's had. He's
because
literally
you can't. Yeah, but hang on. You're correct.
He hasn't held the ball up. I don't think he's touched the ball more than about 3 times and he's played about 90 minutes of football for Tottenham now.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
but Sean,
I haven't seen him touch the ball.
Sean, right? It's like I've got a guy who's strong in the air, but I'm not going to put a cross in for him to attack, right? Or a guy who plays through the ground and you're putting everything through the air. You've got to give him a chance. There's no point bringing Veliz on. I turn around to the guy next to me, waste of time. You just brought Veliz on. You've got no more subs now. You've only used 3 subs. We're hearing that the players can't make 90 minutes. He hasn't even used all his subs. Donley's there. He's there. He was the only player on that bench.
I agree about Donley. 100% agree about Donley. I think Donley should have come on.
So
I'm just saying,
never got a ball. He never got anything. He held up one ball, got fouled, but he's frustrated, right?
Yeah.
He needs to be given.
I'm just asking. Like, again, no challenging, no question marks. I still think he's going to be excellent at some point, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think I've seen him touch the ball in.
Okay, so Man City. We played Man City. What we're going to do? We're going to play a team of dwarfs, right, against a team of giants. Okay. We're going to play Davis, Royal, right?
Porro.
Don't even get me started. Yeah. Porro, right? Yeah. I mean, come on.
Listen,
right?
I was talking all summer. People used to get annoyed with me for saying that I was heightist because I was saying another player we're bringing in who's 5'9". We have got a problem with our team being so small.
But that's why I want Veliz to play, because he could give us something in defence that we don't have, i.e. height against Man City. I just feel that, throw a curveball out there, throw something out there. You've got to throw. This kid's going to be playing come January when Sonny goes off. Yeah. Give him his chance now. We're screwed anyway, so let him try. Because normally these managers who, I'm the Messiah, I always knew. No, half of these managers, they don't want to give a player a chance. Lo and behold, a whole load of injuries. They're forced to play a player. Suddenly that player turns on the magic. I always knew he had it in him. No, you didn't.
Yeah, out of adversity comes opportunity. As long as you give the opportunity to someone.
Personally, I don't understand why Veliz is being promoted ahead of Jamie Donley. Being brutally honest, I don't understand it. I think when I look at what Jamie Donley has done for the under-21s, been absolutely superb this season. Veliz came in, had a couple of games for the under-21s, didn't look overly fantastic, didn't look head and shoulders above the rest like Donley does. But yet Veliz is getting minutes off the bench and Donley isn't. Why? What has Veliz done to earn them minutes that Donley hasn't? I don't understand it personally. When I look at Veliz, I don't think he's ready. I think he needs a loan move. Somewhere in and around Europe, first team football week in, week out. But, again, this isn't on Veliz. This is on what we done in the summer. We sold one of the world's best striker and brought in a 20-year-old kid from Argentina, expecting him to sort of be the answer, or expecting him to be the answer off the bench, for Sonny. But personally, I think it's wrong. I think, if you're going off merit, and if I'm going off what I've seen contribution to this football club, Donley deserves to be there ahead of Veliz for sure. 100% he does.
What Boss says here is absolutely right. If you
we can't make, like, if his strength is in the air, that's fine. And I agree. We've all seen the clips, right? But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing you can expect of someone.
No, it's not.
Peter Crouch's strength was in the air, but his footwork was brilliant. Alan Shearer's strength was in the air, but could still bang up. Like, if you're going to be a good striker, you need to also be more than just rely on one thing. That's just like, it's the same consequence that we talk about Richarlison. It's the same justification for people that defend Richarlison. Well,
there's a lot of clubs after
and it'll be brilliant. Well, we need more. You need more. We play a system that is highly mobile, highly dynamic, and requires possession, requires you to be to not lose the ball. You put the ball on the floor, you're less likely to lose the ball than you are in the air. So again, for me, if that's all he is, if all he is an aerial threat.
But sure,
then,
he's not, mate. There's a lot of clubs that were after Veliz.
No, I know, exactly. So therefore it's okay to expect more from him without the ball being put in the air.
No, I just think, you can't throw on the guy for 3 minutes or 4 minutes and expect him to come. He's come from another country. And, Dave's right, expecting him to come on and change everything in a minute, it's not going to happen. Yeah, look at Alvarez, right? It's an unbelievable player. I said he's going to end up being better than Aguero, and people laughed at me. They might still be laughing at me in 3 or 4 years' time. I've
got all faith. Again, this is the devil's advocate, right? This is the point of the show is when someone says something, someone else on the panel has to throw out the other side of the argument. And when it comes 100%. To Veliz, personally, I think that, I don't know. Like, again, he played about 90 minutes of football now, spread over 5 or 6 appearances. And I can't remember him. I remember him touching the ball at Luton away. I remember him scrambling in the ball on the floor, and ultimately it fell away from him. Other than that, really don't remember him doing anything. And I agree with Dave that if you're going to pick one of those 2 young players to come in right now, it should be Donley.
Or playing up front, as centre forward.
Yeah. Well, that's where Donley started out. That's where he's played the majority of his underage career.
Listen, Dave, you and I have gone on about Donley. I'm just fuming that we're talking about we got nothing, and here we had a player sat on the bench. Why, and are you sitting him on the bench week in, week out? And here he is. What message are you sending to that kid? They're ravaged with injuries. He's gone off. We got nothing. We're chasing the game. We're 2-1 down. We need a goal. Let's bring on Oliver Skip.
Yeah. So you're saying that you? Oh, sorry. Go on, Dave. Go on.
No, just quickly on Veliz. I think. Look, I don't want to do the guy any disjustice because what I have seen of him play for the under-21s, he does have other attributes to his game. He can hold up the ball. He can bring others into play and stuff like that. I want to be fair by the kid. He can do that, but I'm very suspect about his finishing. For me, what I've seen of him in front of goal, I haven't looked at him and said deadly, clinical.
I know
this,
you're
that, and the other.
About. That miss in the game.
But he had 4 of them in one of the EFL Cup games, and then I think what was it? One of the last games he played. I know he scored a header, actually, ironically, from across in the box. But I think there was a couple of other chances that he had that I didn't think he done too well on. But look, he's finishing ain't at Premier League level, and that's why we're not seeing too much more of him.
But Donley feeds Veliz in those games.
Yeah, true.
So
but Donley can also drive at players and create opportunities for himself.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Veliz do that.
If we have another injury on the weekend and we don't see him again get any minutes, I'm going to start losing it. I really am, because
are you saying, is your confidence in Ange starting to have cracks? Is that what you're saying?
There's a lot of positives, but all I hear is, Ange, if they're young enough, his age is not a barrier. Well, here we are in a situation where threadbare. And if I'm going to promote any player within that squad, and I'm not sitting here saying put out Dorrington in because it's too much of a risk for me at centre-back at that age. I'm not an advocate of that. I want to see them drip-fed in, 19 years of age, start playing them, right? But in the middle of the park and on the wings and up front, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter your age. And quite honestly, Jamie Donley is the pick of that squad. We talk about buying players who are flexible, that can play multiple positions. I think that's what we need. That's what we need. We need players who can play Gerstruder, right? Okay, he's an example of a player that can play a 6.
Everywhere.
He can play right back. He can play centre back. Those are the type of players that you want to buy. Donnelly is one of those players. He can play a 10. He can play out wide. He can play up front. I mean, last season, Dave, how was it? 6 positions he played last season?
The under-21s were ravaged with injuries, so they sort of just used Donley to sort of fill in everywhere, And one thing I'll give credit to the kid, his output in terms of goals and assists, it never changed. It never dropped. It was still happening no matter what position they put him in.
The only thing I would say is there's obviously look, all of us, we see the under 21s, we see the first team. We don't really see too much else. So you can always make the argument. There's a reason why Veliz is ahead of Donley in the pecking order at the moment. And by all accounts, from people that are journalists, wherever they say that Veliz trains, to a higher level. So we should say just quickly, Ben Kaufman. Go on.
Oh, sorry. Go on. No, just quickly on Donley. I think I'm lagging. I'm going to log out, log back in. I'm lagging.
Oh, okay. Real quick. Ben Kaufman, member for 18 months, mate. I think you've been one of the first members of the show because we only turned on the membership 6 months in, or not even 6 months into to when we started the channel. So, mate, really appreciate your support, Benny boy. Get over to the coffee company. Anyone who enjoys afternoon chills, Ben does a wonderful show. Appreciate your support, my man. So let me just to carry on with this story then, because I do want to talk about a couple of things before we finish off in sort of 15 minutes. But so, are you what? Because I saw someone, I think it was Sava, chatting in the chat there with someone else around what to do against Manchester City. Look, I personally, I'm going up there. I'm driving 5 hours up there on my Todd, and I'm driving 5 hours back on Sunday. So I want to see Tottenham have a go. I really do, and I don't want to see Tottenham, personally throw out the kids in a, we're going to lose anyway fashion. I don't want that kind of thing, because that's going to frustrate me.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, people are calling it a free hit, right? So, and I get it. I get the narrative that that some people, and I'm not even saying this is sour. Some other people I've seen on Twitter saying, just play the kids. The season's done. Let's just see what the kids have got in them. I still think that if you look back to that goal that we scored against, that's the game we scored, the goal we scored that was disallowed from Sonny when he broke through. That football between Højbjerg, Udogie, and Sonny was absolutely sensational, and that happened after Bentancur came off the pitch, right? So the team that finished that game was still capable of playing some absolutely world-class football in moments during that game when we had the ball.
Imagine if that was Richie 3 times offside.
Yeah, people have gone mad. And of course, I completely get it, right? But
4 if you include Chelsea.
For me, I'm just saying that I think that for the Manchester City game, I think that I think we'll probably lose, but I think that Tottenham can still field a team that can play. If we keep the ball, we can still have good moments with the ball. And I'm just wondering what sort of team everyone would like to see. I think the back five at the moment probably picks itself, unless you guys want to see Eric Dyer come back in. I know you probably don't. So the Vicario, Porro, Emerson, and then Udogie and Davies. Is that where you guys still feel about that? How you feel about that?
Can we stick with Davies though? 3 goals he sort of cost us in the last 2 games. I'm not sure you can stick with him. I blame him for the 2 at Wolves. He lost the runner on the free kick, and then he doubled down and lost Ollie Watkins for the second goal. He let Ollie Watkins drop out unchallenged, and then also let him run in behind him without tracking him.
And
against Wolves, that second goal, it started with him in possession. Romero Van der Ven go back to Vicario, will put it out to Eric Dyer. Because of his limitations on the ball, he panics, gives it to Højbjerg, who also has limitations on the ball, panics, gives it to Lascelles, so they pick us, they go up and score the second goal. So I'm not sure if Ben Davies can't have the bottle against Wolves or Aston Villa. I'm not sure he's going to have the bottle against Haaland.
So who do you think should come in then on the left side of centre back?
I'll fucking play. Look, I know. Usually I would put Dorrington forward, but I'm not going to put Dorrington up against Haaland. You can't do that to the kid, not against Haaland. I mean, that would ruin them altogether. The best striker in the world. Look, he probably will have to go with Davies. I'm just saying. 3 goals in the last 2 games. I'm not sure it's a wise option, but
what about the Pau Torres? He let Pau Torres come in. Pau Torres there was a warning. Pau Torres got in and missed a sitter with a header, first of all, and Davies let him do it again. So listen, I mean, for comedy value, it would be quite funny to watch Haaland versus Pointy Man. And we would be watching Davis, treading water as Alvarez and Doku. I mean,
that right hand side worries me.
I think I will position myself behind the couch for this game. I was offered a ticket, but unfortunately it's going to prove a little bit difficult for me to go. But I don't know. You can't throw the kids in there. It's not that sort of game. What I'm asking for here is that players like Donley are given 10 minutes in a game to try and show what they can do. Give them hope. Not only give him hope, but give the players behind him hope. Because I tell you, if you don't give them hope, then what's going to happen come next summer, all these kids are going to want out. And who can blame them? Because it's about having a pathway. And I've seen nothing as yet which says to me there is a pathway from that youth to the first team. And if you can't see that Jamie Donley is better than Oliver Skipp, then I don't know.
So moving forward then to the midfield is, are you saying, hang on, Dave's having a conversation with someone. What are you saying, Dave?
No. I just
SAH
responded to someone. Yeah, he said Davies was very decent in the last two games. Lazy narrative. I'm saying when the evidence is in front of your eyes that he's
lazy
got 3
narrative.
goals, how's that a lazy narrative? I'd actually argue that the response is lazy. Come back and tell me what he's done good. You know why you think he should play. That your response is lazy. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, you know, he was better than Dyer, but that's not up to much. Look, I told you what I would do. I would change it up. I would change it up just for change's sake. I would play Veliz. Why would I play Veliz? I would play Veliz because
Veliz, and then what? Sonny on the left.
No, yeah. And why would I play Veliz? Right, I'm saying play Veliz because we need height to defend corners and free kicks. Okay, that's my argument there. Rather than playing Brian Gill, so I would play Sonny on the left. I would play Veliz through the middle. Right, it's a gamble. Right, I played Brendan Johnson on the right. I played Kulu. I played Bentancur, Gio, and
Not Bentancur. You mean Gio and Bissouma?
Sorry, Gio and Bissouma, and but probably Højbjerg. Yeah.
Well, I think you got one too many players in there.
Hang
on, you got
well, I try.
Sonny on the left.
We're going to need 12. We're going to need 12 or maybe 13.
Sonny on the left. Veliz up the top. Brendan Johnson, Decky in the 10. Lo Celso in the 8. Bissouma in the 6. And then the back 4 as they were. Would you play Højbjerg at centre back?
I mean, as Davies cost us 3 goals. Dyer came in and cost us straight away. For me, you want to try something different. I don't see why you wouldn't.
You see, for me, you know what I would be doing? Had Reguilon be in the squad, right? I would be playing Reguilon at left back, and I would be playing Destiny Udogie next to Emerson Royal, right? At 6 foot. I know he's not a centre back, but he's got the pace to mimic Mickey van der Ven in the speed stakes, and give cover to. So maybe you could do one of 2 things. You could actually put Ben Davies on the left, right, and put Destiny through the middle. It's a thought.
I think you then lose all of Destiny Udogie's forward momentum stuff, but.
I think we're going to be spending more time defending, but I think we'll score against Man City. I do, because they're vulnerable right now. They are.
I think we're going to get on the ball. I still think we're going to get on the ball. I think we'll have 40. I think we'll have more than 40% possession, 45% possession, something like that. Listen, I'm going up there. I think that Tottenham are going to play. I think we'll lose. I think we'll probably lose like 4-1 or something like that, because I think they'll break away, and then like everyone's saying, Haaland in the air is going to be monster. But I don't know. I still think that Tottenham are going to put in a good shift, and I think that I'd hope that Tottenham are going to be, well received by the fans afterwards. But ultimately, it's the worst game you could possibly want right now. Or I don't know. Maybe it's the best game. Get it out of the way when everyone's injured anyway. You'd rather have that now than later on in the season when hopefully people are back. But ultimately, I think that the season's all right. Have you guys, given where we're at and the length of the injuries and the amount of them, the frequency of them, do you think that European football is still on the table?
Look, as bad as we were last year, European football was still on the table up until I think, what was it, Wolves or something like that near the end of the season. You know, it was still on the table up until then. So European football is nowhere near off the table yet. No way. You know, if when people used to counteract me with the title race stuff, they they used to say, "Oh, there's still a long way to go." So I counteract the European argument with, "There's still a long way to go."
Well, considering we've had on average 1 injury per game, bearing in mind we've had players who've been injured and actually come back, Brendan Johnson and others. And with 8 games between now and Christmas, is it, and January? How many players will be left in that squad?
Yeah, we'll be playing Doris the tea lady and Chirpy up front. Come about April.
Chirpy's injured. Chirpy's injured. So he's
Chirpy
out.
pulled a hamstring. He pulled his wing, a chicken wing.
No, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
We can, look, any more injuries? We can't afford. We said we couldn't afford any more injuries, and then we've lost Bentancur and Sarr in the space of a week. You know, who's next week?
Yeah, it's not looking good, is it? But you know, it is. I do wonder whether someone put some juju on us. Someone somewhere in the world has put like some sort of curse. You know, those things exist. Those people do believe in that stuff, and I wonder whether or not that's happened because it's just unbelievable.
I sit there every single time I see Arsenal play, willing, rubbing rabbits' feet, doing everything I can to get them to come down with injuries. Saka, Saliba, like anyone, just like, come on, lose a couple, come on. Right?
The only player that I really would have I don't like any player getting injured. I think it's it's what it is. But the only player that I wouldn't mind seeing seeing take a rough one is Matty Cash. He's a dirty little git. Guys, can you please? I haven't asked at all. I forgot to ask. Smash the likes. I'm not sure what we're on, but there's 450 in here. We should be on at least sort of 300 if possible. So if you are if it's within your control, and it should be, just drum the thumb, smash the like button. Make sure you get over to Twitter, Johnny H3232. If you like Johnny and his shows he does on Twitter, the Spaces, you can find his link in the description. And also Tottenham on Tours, links in the description where he does his anger management thing with Brian and Dave's. The Irish Hotspur is also in the description as well. Make sure you get over there and subscribe to these lovely guys. Look, that is what it is. Last question, I guess, for you guys. We're not going to go too much longer. Is about these changes to. In fact, before we get onto the orange card thing, just quickly, the VAR. Did you see the Sky Sports the clip when they were talking about Tottenham versus Aston Villa and the retired referee, I forget who it was, said, the VAR wasn't working for the first 10 minutes. Well, it was working, but they couldn't get a feed through to on the pitch monitor. So that's why they couldn't sort of have any particular VAR referrals in the first 10 minutes of the game.
No one could say to him, there was an elbow to the head. It's a definite red card.
Unbelievable. But it was the way he said it didn't affect anything. It didn't matter anyway. There was no controversial incidents. I'm like, are you having a laugh? There was 2 in the same minute. There was a handball and an elbow that wasn't checked. And you're saying it didn't matter anyway, because of course you're going to play the game. And then he also had the audacity to say, when the interviewer said, did everyone know? Was everyone okay with the game going ahead without VAR? And he went, yeah, everybody knew. Everybody in the stadium knew. Everyone in the ground knew. Everyone in the football clubs knew. Like, no one knows what's going on with VAR when it's working properly when you're at the ground. So how could they have possibly known that there was no VAR in the first 10 minutes anyway? It's an absolute disgrace. This VAR thing is an absolute joke.
It got me banned off of Instagram. I lost my Instagram. 9,000 followers. They banned me because someone sent me the clip. Right, I was obviously at the game of the elbow, so I posted the elbow, and I got done because that breached copyright. I mean,
oh really?
That elbow, and my account's been not even suspended.
Now your current account's been suspended.
Yeah, my Instagram account's done. 9,000 followers. I was like flying. And,
didn't you have a Twitter account that was cancelled a couple of months back or a year ago as well?
No, about a year and a bit ago. Yeah. I
mean, you've been suspended more times than Bissouma.
I mean, all I need to do, I'm going wrong. I need to get my tits out, right? And then I'll be all right. I'll shake my ass. That's okay. But God forbid you post something from VAR.
Unbelievable.
Outrageous. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you guys about this. Orange cards in football. Orange cards are for sin bins. They're set to be introduced as football's lawmakers want the new rugby-style measure in elite competitions. Let me just get it up. So let me get the article up from the Sun. Yeah, pause. The Football Association bought. Let me get it up on the screen so you guys can see it as well. Present, share screen, bang,
orange card.
Where do I?
Red and yellow and blinking orange.
So this is the International Football Board, the IFAB, has agreed in principle to test the rugby-style measure in elite competitions such as the Premier League as early as next season. This has been approved in an attempt to tackle the rising number of disciplinary issues during games. Since 2019 in England, 10-minute sin bins have been effective in dealing with dissent at the grassroots to the academy level. Players who display words or actions of dissent leave the pitch for 10 minutes. And with the new trials implementing, the rule may also apply to penalised tactical fouls. The trial will cover cynical fouls, such as the one committed by Italy's Cellini when he grabbed England's Saka's shirt in the Euro 2020 final. But the incident only punished the player with a yellow card, which outraged the Three Lions fans. If the measure is in place, the foul would equate to an orange card. However, fans will not see the orange cards on the pitch, as they will only be shown on the electronic boards when a player is temporarily dismissed. The rule would see offences that's more worthy of a terrible journalism of a greater punishment than your standard booking. But the incident does not quite live up to a sending off. Meanwhile, another major rule change would also have been set by the IFAB to take place next season, is to show the red card for deliberate penalty box hand balls. That's the end of that. Doesn't even go into detail.
Tell me something. So what does that mean? Does that mean then that if you get an orange, so he's pulled him back, so instead of a yellow card, he gets a sin bin, and what if he does it again? Is that sending off?
Yeah, I think it counts as a yellow plus 10 minutes. So it's more significant than a yellow. So yeah, then if you come back on and then you do another yellow card offence, then you're off. Yeah.
I don't like the whole idea around it, to be honest with you. I think, so basically what's happened is they brought in VAR. They're not getting a lot of decisions correct. We all can see that. And people are showing their frustration towards it. So in order to quell that, what we're going to do now is double down on it. You can't say anything about any of the decisions at all. You're not allowed to even question them anymore. We're going to sin bin you for it. I'm sorry. I've had an absolute joke. This is why we're at where we're at with the VAR. Instead of things just being, black and white and having simple rules, they overcomplicate everything. And this is exactly what's going to happen with the orange card. And what's going to happen from there? More VAR. Soon you're going to get VAR brought to you by Cadbury's. I'm absolutely had enough. It's going to get sponsored soon. And all it's going to do is lead to more revolt, where you're going to have entire stadiums booing the referee. And because he's the one on show, not the cowards out in the truck, he's the one that's going to take the heat. And all it's going to do is to lead to stadiums all across the country, all right up and down, booing referees. It's going to lead to even more hatred. Sort out what's already wrong with it, rather than add more shit on top of it, make it more complicated, make it more indecisive.
Why can't we just get rid of VAR? Everyone is just accepting that this thing is here to stay. It's here to stay, so we have to get on board it. Why do we have to get on board it? Why can't we get rid of it? Like, it doesn't exist in the Championship. It doesn't exist in League One or League Two or conference football. It doesn't exist in 90% of the leagues around the world. And football has been just fine for the last 100 years without it, and it will be fine without it going forward. Why do we have to accept it that it's here to stay?
Money. Too much money.
But too much money to do what? To implement the system, the technology.
Too much money to pay for it, to implement it. They've got contracts with these companies, so no doubt in the small print it has to be in for so long, or it's here to stay. I wouldn't be surprised, because the thing is, right,
all you're doing is like drawing lines on a camera. The camera still would need to be there for reviews anyway. I don't understand where the expense is.
here's what annoys me though, right? Everyone's going, "Oh, you just don't want technology. You don't want the game advanced." No, I do. I'm okay with the chip in the ball that tells you whether the ball's gone over the line or not. That's simple, quick, effective. But VAR ain't working. But the more it's not working, we're actually getting to a point now where commentators, in order to back it, they're coming out having a dig at managers, having a dig at clubs, having a dig at fans because they're showing their frustration towards it. And what you're getting now is everyone clamoring, defending these referees. I'm sick of it. Go back to the way it was. Get it out of the game. It's absolutely ruining it. It's costing players injuries. It's costing clubs points and decisions. It's changing the way games are going. For instance, you're on top of the game. You're absolutely smashing a team. A VAR decision takes 7 minutes for the opposition team. Changes the way the game. It changes the game. It gives them a chance to get back into it. I've said it before. I don't like VAR. I think it's dictating the league. I think it's dictating games. Get it gone.
I'm amazed that Rolex haven't come in. I'm amazed Rolex or Timex or haven't come in now to sponsor the VAR. VAR sponsored by, the longer it goes on, the more.
Once that happens, you'll have to have so many VAR decisions every game once they sponsor that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The longer VAR goes, the more money goes to the FA.
Yeah, look, I don't. Honest to God, when people say it's the money that's been spent on it, I don't really get it because the cameras are in the stadium anyway. The cameras are always there for the broadcasting, right? So I don't really understand. And there's not if the argument is all the money they spent on cameras, well, they haven't spent enough because they can't get perfect. They can't get perfect perpendicular cameras to the football match anyway. That's why they have to draw those lines at weird angles because some stadiums don't have. Yeah, and like they have those in rugby. They have those like wires where the camera just zoops up and down. Like I don't. Again, if you're going to copy anything from any other sport, that seems a simple one to put in to guarantee at least you've got the perpendicular line. If that's the right word, I'm not sure that is the right word for it. But anyway, if the argument is the amount of money it cost. I don't understand where the cost is. A little bit of software that can draw a couple of lines on a screen.
Well,
where has the money been spent?
Why it's very expensive. Tell me something, Sean. Did the naughty step work for you? The sin bin when you were a kid? Been put onto the thing. I mean, when you were being too lippy.
To be honest, I was never put on a naughty step.
Your parents turned around to you and said, "Go sit on that step over there." Right, 10 minutes.
I was only grounded once in my life.
You still came back.
True story. It was the worst. It was the worst and best experience of my life. I had a date. My very first date. I went to an all boys school. There was a sister school down the road, and there was like the buses used to collect the boys and the girls and drop them off together. And I built up the courage to ask this girl out on a date. And she's like, "Okay, I'll meet you on Saturday." This was before there was mobile phones or anything. I was like, "Oh, I've got my first date. I'm really excited about it." And I played rugby on the Saturday morning, and it was freezing cold. It was snowing, and I went down with an injury, but I wasn't injured. And my dad could tell that I wasn't injured, right? And I walked off the pitch. I was like, "No, I got to come off. I'm injured. And my dad took on the car on the way home. He went, "I'm so disappointed in you. You've let yourself down. I know you're not injured. You're faking it. You know what? You're not going out tonight." And it was the first and only time he ever grounded me. And he grounded me on the night that I had my first ever date, and I couldn't phone her and tell her that I couldn't make it. I'd been grounded in time because the mobile phones had gone. When I finally got her house number,
Sean, she's still waiting.
So she turned up for the date. I wasn't there. The next day, on the Monday, I went into school to go up and apologize to her, and she went, "Yeah, I don't think we should go out anymore." And I was like, So I learned my lesson: never feign an injury, always play to the whistle. And don't do anything that gets you grounded again, because it absolutely ruined my love life for at least the next 6 months. I never sat on the naughty step though.
No, but I mean the sin bin. I mean, sin bin sponsored by.
Yeah.
Who's the sin bin going to be sponsored by? Another money-making scheme.
Yeah.
And where would the sin bin be?
Silence people.
Where will the sin bin be? Right in the stadium. Right. Is the player going to then go to the sin bin and be abused by all the opposition fans? Right?
No, do you know what else can happen though? In that time, they can go and sit in the dugout and get tactical instructions from Arteta will take advantage of it.
They will have to be away from. They will have to be away from it. Where are you going to put them in a stadium? This isn't rugby where all the fans sit together and have a beer and a chat. Right? This is tribal. Right? You go and put an opposition player in the sin bin having done something wrong, he's going to have shit thrown at him. He's going to have abuse for 10 minutes, right? I can only imagine. It's going to add a new dimension.
Look, they brought in orange card system here over in Ireland in the GAA. I can tell you now, it doesn't work. All it leads to is more controversy. It's all it leads to.
I'm guessing that's what they want, though, isn't it? They like the ability to have more things to talk about afterwards. More drama equals more advertising revenue. I don't know. Look, for me, it's a shambles. I think VAR should be. I think we should go back to the good old days of hating the person. You have one person in the middle of the pitch who wears black, and the two people on the sidelines in the linos, and you let them. I think the VAR also has let the referees off the hook. They no longer make tough decisions. They wait until the VAR make them for them. The whole thing's a joke, but apparently it's here to stay. Still don't understand the reason why, but apparently we have to just get on board it.
What I will say, though, Sean, if fans showed their dissent to it up and down the country, every kickoff stood there booing it, every time they took long time to make decisions, stand there booing it en masse, I think you'll find you'll get it out of sport very, very quickly.
Every single game that I've gone to where there's been a goal, whether the home fans or away fans are celebrating, they start singing, FVAR. It's the new version of the referee's W cut, Like that was the good one. That was the song I used to like singing because it was aimed at one person, not 8 people in a room somewhere. You could actually have that kind of anger at the person in the middle. But anyway, look, guys, I think we might as well wrap it up there. Look, in summary, Tottenham are down to bare bones, dregs, and I think we're all trying to speculate on what's the best way to get through this system. It sounds like we've had a few disagreements today, as we usually do on Devil's Advocate. Johnny, where can people find you, mate?
You can find me in the injury room, nursing my bruises at Johnny H 3232. And
no longer on Instagram, only on Twitter.
Only on Twitter now. That non-toxic environment that we live in, full of happy, clappy people. And you can find me on Monday where we'll be reviewing the amazing performance against Manchester City, where we will be discussing the latest injury to befall the Tottenham Hotspur Club. Listen,
thanks for coming on, Johnny, mate.
Keep smiling through it. Keep smiling through it. It could be worse. We could be last season under Conte. But you know what? Someone up there does not like Tottenham Hotspur because someone turned around and said, you lot are far too bloody happy, right? You two are buzzing, right? Why are you lot celebrating? Because we haven't celebrated in years, right? We're celebrating beating Sheffield United 2-1 with 2 late goals, right? That's what our world has come to. Now it's all come to roost and we're back to normal, the same old Tottenham.
We'll be back. Second half of the season, we're going to come through strong like a steam train, aren't we, Dave?
Please God.
It's exactly what's going to happen, What I think it's a blessing in disguise. You don't want to be up the top on the pressure mountain. Come off it a little while. Let the other teams take that pressure. We'll sneak back up there towards the end of the season. But yeah, look, great show, boys. Really enjoyed it again today. Thanks very much for having me. You definitely cheered me up. Last thing I will say, if you do want your game back, you got rid of the Super League, didn't you? How did that happen? Mass protests, not allowing games to go ahead. You don't want VAR in the sport. You can always do the same. But look, you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur if you want to hear more of me. Thanks for tuning in.
Dave, Johnny, always a pleasure. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been around this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. Shout out to Drew with the super chat earlier on. Oh, to Moondog. I'm sorry, Moondog. I've just seen this one, mate. Simbin player calls down more injuries. Oh, there you go. Yeah, another one. You get more injuries from Simbin players. Yeah, 100%, mate. Good insight. Thanks, Moondog. Thank you to Ben for the loyalty as well, and all the other guys that have been around these here parts. Please, on your way out, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because you might be unsubscribed. Get over to Dave at the Irish Hotspur. Get over to Johnny at Tottenham on Tour or on Twitter, and we will see you on the next one. Appreciate you all. Ciao, ciao.
Come on, you Spurs.